Welcome to the Savage Nation.
Thank you, Michael. How are you?
So glad that you could be on today. It's a huge day. How does it look tonight in Wisconsin?
I think it looks great, Michael. I'm right now at an airport hangar. We have thousands of people. I'm about ready to make a speech, and thousands of people. I mean, every place I go, it's the same. So, you know, the polls are showing it pretty close to even, but I feel better than that. I feel like I did in New Hampshire when it was supposed to be even, and I won in a landslide. So, you know, I think we're going to do well.
The people love you, Donald. I know that. Even though the mainstream media and all of the naysayers are saying you had a bad week, and there was some, missteps here and there. First of all, I wouldn't go near that devil on MSNBC. I don't know why you went into the Vipers then, but let's put that aside. Drudge is reporting that Cruz is moving to steal Trump Arizona delegates. What is this about with the RNC? What are they trying to do, Donald?
Well, you know, we've won the delegates with the voters. They won't be able to do it, but I call him Lion Ted because I've never seen anything like this guy. But we won, like Louisiana, we won it. And they're trying to steal our delegates. It's a disgraceful thing, but the voters get it. I'm up by, almost 300 delegates, and I think we're going to put it away, and I hope we're going to do well in Wisconsin. I think we are going to do well in Wisconsin. The crowds are incredible. It's about making America great again, Michael. You understand that better than almost anybody.
Well, I understand borders, language, and culture, but everyone's saying you don't have specific plans. But the fact of the matter is, I've asked you specific questions over the last 3 months. I've gotten specific answers. They don't want to hear it when you give specific answers. They make believe you're not giving them. So what's the point of answering them if they make believe you're not answering them? I know where you're coming from. What did you and the RNC discuss in your meeting? Can you divulge anything to the Savage Nation about you and Reince Priebus, or whatever his name is, Reince Prius?
Well, first of all, with Reince, it was a very nice conversation. Nothing much, nothing to write home about. It was just a normal conversation. Nothing very interesting, except that, I want to be treated fairly, and I said that. But more importantly, when you talk about the media, I have such detail, and I give such detail, and I talk about NATO and how we're paying the brunt of it, and other nations should be paying, and how other nations should be paying us for defense, and they're not giving us the kind of money we should be paid, and all of that. And then they'll say, Donald Trump wants to arm Japan, as an example, with nuclear weapons, and Donald Trump this and Donald Trump that. They don't give you they give you 2% of what you say, and they make it sound foolish. These are really dishonest people, these media people. I give tremendous detail. Hey, I'm like a smart person. I give tremendous detail, but they only give about 5% of what I say, and it doesn't work when you give 5% of what you say. So they're very, very dishonest. You know it as well as I do, and despite that, I think we're doing really well, and I think we're going to have a great day. I hope we're going to have a great day tomorrow in Wisconsin.
Look, this article in New York Magazine, which is very favorable to you, which is a very interesting one, Donald. Obviously, you're not going to answer anything you don't want to answer, but the reporter for the article, Gabriel Sherman, is very friendly to you, and he says that you say that Murdoch has been very bad to you. Is that true? Do you think Murdoch's... Look, I've said on my show that Rupert Murdoch is in a tank for Hillary Clinton. I think it's well known behind the scenes that he's supporting Hillary Clinton. Do you think that explains why he put his attack dog, Mad Dog Kelly, on you?
Well, I don't know exactly. I can tell you I've always liked Rupert, but I would say certainly the Wall Street Journal treats me horribly and Fox treats me horribly. Megyn Kelly treats me very unfairly. I mean, it's all Trump all the time with her show. If she ever took me off her show, her ratings would drop like a rock. But
no, that's why I've given her a new name, Mad Dog Kelly, because I've never seen anything as unprofessional as what she's doing. She puts MSNBC to shame for what she's been doing.
Yeah, it doesn't get any worse than that. And what she does, and even guests, she'll have guests that are always favorable to me. When they go on her show, they're horrible. I call them up and say, whatever happened to you? I mean, that was terrible what you said. And, they're totally favorable to me all the time, but they go on her show and they become... Because she obviously must tell them to be unfavorable. I guess maybe they want to be on the show. But I call her out, and she's very unfair to me, and it covers me all the time. I don't do her show. I won't do her show. But she covers.
I don't blame you, because she's no longer even a modicum of a fair journalist. But Donald, the presidency is the whole thing, isn't it? And the reason you're popular is because of borders, because of immigration, because of the flood of Muslims coming into the country. I would almost say, Donald, please don't let the moderate influences in your campaign take you off point. It's what got you where you are. Are you going to modify your campaign and move a little bit more to the center now?
You know, you just said it better than anybody could. It's what got me here. I mean, I'm leading by a lot. I have millions of votes more. You know, they don't even look at that. They look at delegates, but I have a lot of delegates more. But I have millions of votes more than Cruz, more than anybody, and millions of votes. And you see what's happening. It's the biggest story in politics is all these people coming out to vote for me. And the last thing I should be doing right now is changing, Michael. So I don't think you have anything to worry about, okay?
No, I'm Donald, look, I know that once a campaign reaches this height, new people come in. I know you hired a former campaign advisor for Bob Dole, which sends chills up my spine, because what they're going to do is tell you to move to the center. I think that's a disastrous mistake. The country is in turmoil. It's falling apart. Obama is acting out in a more draconian way that he's ever acted out, goes to Cuba, doesn't leave a ball game, bombs going off from Brussels, flies to South America, says there's no difference between communism and capitalism. He's going crazy. We need someone to counterbalance the disaster of the last 8 years. You're it. None of the others could do it. Ted Cruz is part of the establishment. He's a sitting senator. We all know that, Donald. We need you to stay strong. I mean, I'm almost imploring you to listen to the Savage Nation, not to the campaign advisors. They've destroyed more men than you could imagine. Savage. Well, the interview continues in the next hour. And Donald Trump, welcome to the Savage Nation. Getting back to the core issue, are you still as strong on building that wall?
Yes, 100%. Don't worry about it. That's a delegate man I hired. He's excellent for delegates, but he has nothing to do with policy. Nobody does. We'll see what happens. I have experts, but ultimately I call the shot. No, the wall's going to be built. The border's going to be strong. Our military is going to be strengthened tremendously. We're not going to be pushed around. We're going to renegotiate trade deals, and we're going to get the country back. We're going to take back our jobs. We're going to bring them back from Mexico and all these places that have robbed us of our jobs. Do not worry, Michael. Do not worry.
Okay, last point. I know you're just heading out to the rally. We're all going to watch it on TV, and this is going to be a big deal today in Wisconsin. And win or lose, it's not the end of the game here, is it? What comes next? What's right after Wisconsin?
Well, it's not, and I'd love to win Wisconsin, but the big thing is New York, and I have a tremendous lead in New York, like a 30-point or a 40-point lead in New York, and I'll be back very soon. I'll be back sometime tomorrow night. I'm going to stay in Wisconsin during this whole process. I'll be back tomorrow night. By the way, you have a big fan base in Wisconsin, so I hope all those people from Wisconsin that are listening are going to go out and vote for Trump, because it's so important that we beat the establishment and beat these guys back.
Well, we do. We have 4 stations in Wisconsin, and Wisconsin Republican voters tend to be more conservative than the average Republican voter. And that's why I think immigration is very big in Wisconsin as well. They've had a terrible problem in Wisconsin with illegal aliens and crime. That's a fact of reality.
They have a terrible problem there. They have a terrible drug problem. They've had a tremendous drug problem pouring across from the southern border. All these things we're going to take care of. But, you know, they have a big jobs problem, because a lot of jobs are leaving Wisconsin. They've really lost a lot of jobs. So all of those things, that's my wheelhouse.
Donald, do you mean manufacturing has gone out of the state? Is that what you're talking about, jobs?
Tremendous manufacturing has left. They've gone to Mexico. They've gone to all sorts of places, but a lot of business is going to Mexico.
But Donald, I know you're in a rush, but that started with NAFTA under Bill and Hillary Clinton. Why is it that in all these debates between you and Cruz, there's no turning of the guns towards the real enemy, which is Hillary Clinton? I don't know why you don't focus on her.
And by the way, well, I really want to focus on her after I get rid of the next 2. You know, I started off there's 17. Now there's down to 2. So I want to knock out the final 2, and then I'll be hitting her, like, you know, and legitimately on the bad things she's done. Look at Libya, where ISIS is now taking over the oil from Libya, and they're selling oil. I mean, can you believe it? And that was her deal.
Yeah, she owns the Arab Spring, which caused the millions of refugees. Never asked about it by Megyn Kelly. Never asked about it by Anderson Cooper. Never asked about it by Jake Tapper. She caused the Arab Spring and the flood of refugees into Europe. And yet no one ever talks about it. Instead, they talk about your campaign manager daring to stop an idiot girl who almost assaulted you, as far as I'm concerned. By the way, Donald, you have to hear this. We had Secret Service, we had DEA guys call the show after that. They said if they were there, she would have been on the ground probably with a broken arm. Lewandowski did nothing but fend her off you, by the way.
It's very unfair. What happened to him is very, very unfair, and it'll be taken care of. But it was so unfair what happened to him. I will tell you this. I think we're really doing well. Jobs will be a big factor. Bringing our businesses back, bringing the companies back, and not letting companies go. Because many companies are planning to leave the United States to go to Mexico and other places. We're not going to let that happen.
But how do you make them stay here? What would you do to keep them here?
We have incentives, and we also have another incentive. When they go into Mexico and they think they're going to fire all our people and go into Mexico and sell things without tax in the United States, they're going to pay a tax, and it's going to make them change their mind very quickly, Michael.
Ah, okay. You're going to make them pay a tax on the goods that return here, goods that would have been manufactured here. That's good. Great idea. That goes along with tariffs on China's goods. I don't know why that's so controversial. I've called for it for 3 years. They've been getting away with murder. Why don't we hit them with tariffs?
Guys like Cruz are in the pocket of the special interests, much of which has to do with China and companies that do business with China. And so Cruz and all these guys don't want to do anything that's going to upset China. And with me, I'm all self-funding. I'm putting up my own money. I'm putting up a lot of money. I'm running all with my money. So I'm not, getting $10 million from companies that do business with China and everything else. And I will straighten it out so fast. Carl Icahn endorsed me. Some of the greatest business minds endorsed me, many of them. And you'll see what happens. It's going to be very quick. It's going to be very quick. And we'll still get along with everybody, but it's going to be fair. Right now, we're being ripped off by China and everybody else we do business with.
100% right, Donald Trump. The crowd's waiting for you. We wish you so great results in Wisconsin. On to New York. God bless America, and thank you very much for representing this country.
Thank you, Michael, very much. Get all the people from Wisconsin, go out and vote. Tell them to get out and vote, Michael. Have a good day.
No, believe me, that's what this is all about, Donald. Thanks very much for being with me on the Savage Nation.
Savage.